Number 10, Taylor Swift versus E.T. If there is one thing that should be known about Taylor Swift, it's that she can end entire careers with one conversation. In 2015, Taylor was on the red carpet for the Grammy Awards, where she was interviewed by Entertainment Tonight. The woman who interviewed her started the interview by asking her cameraman to pan up and down and literally check Taylor out with a massive camera, which, that's not weird at all. After going along with the bit and telling the camera about the dress, the interviewer then said that she honestly just wanted to look at Taylor's legs because, as she said before the show, Taylor is going to be going home with more than a trophy, perhaps a man. Well, Taylor didn't appreciate that comment or the assumption. She did not laugh and proceeded to tell the interviewer that she would be going home, but just not with any men. She just wanted to go hang out with friends and then maybe home to her cats. While the majority of the interview went well, the interviewers were reprimanded behind the scenes by Taylor herself and her team, and the news of Taylor's dislike for the interviewers made its way up to the top, where the ET executives decided to keep these people off the red carpet for a while. Remember, keep your creepy camera gestures to yourself, lady. Number 9, Vitali Sediuk versus everyone. This man has done some truly disgusting things to people for the sake of views. He's grabbed people's legs, attempted to force himself on people. He was even arrested after running on the stage at the Grammys. But his most explosive interaction, and the one that really sealed his fate, was his interaction with Will Smith. Will was walking the red carpet in 2013, giving people interviews, when Ukrainian comedian Vitali Sediuk approached him, a man who is unfortunately world famous for being an absolute horror to celebrities. He pretended to be a reporter and started to walk towards Will and tried to give him a kiss on the cheek and mouth. Well, Will obviously shoved him backwards and gave him a little "hey buddy," and then just gave him a little backhand to the face. A team of security following Mr. Smith picked this guy up off the ground and carried him away like a toddler, which he is. Who knew Will was practicing for his Oscar slap all the way back then? Sediuk was finally reprimanded for his actions, and he was actually made to pay a hefty fine for attempting to force himself on Will Smith, but needless to say, this guy works for himself now and security knows his face. Number 8, Amy Schumer versus Kim and Kanye. In the mid-2010s, comedian Amy Schumer was named one of Time People's top 100 most influential people and was made to attend a red carpet event to celebrate with her fellow influencers, two of whom were Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, the power couple of the century. While discussing the incident on the Graham Norton show, she revealed that the whole thing was a planned prank on Kim and Ye. Her goal was to get them to crack a smile and get some good fun pictures from the event, but Kim and Kanye did not find the situation funny and continued to walk past Amy as she fell in front of them. The best picture is just Kim staring at Amy for a moment, being like, "Oh my god, is that really happening?" While the moment was meant to create a fun scene, it instead made Amy look like she had a grudge towards Kim and Kanye. Now, while not an interview, the incident on the red carpet forced Comedy Central to postpone a season of her show until things were sorted out with Kim, and it turned out not only did Kim not care, but she actually did end up finding this kind of funny in the end. With the two apparently now being close friends, Amy even made a cameo on Kim's new show, The Kardashians. Number 7, Hugh Grant versus handcuffs. While attending the Dutch premiere of his rom-com Music and Lyrics, Hugh Grant got the shock of a lifetime after a fan got way too excited and took their admiration to a whole new level. Television journalist Silka Sibin approached Grant and he thought that it was an interview, but then she handcuffed herself to him. For about 10 minutes, the patient but frustrated Hugh Grant just waited and watched while several people started snapping pictures left and right. After the fire department finally released them, Sibin was taken away by police. While this may have seemed like your average Hollywood interaction, the news stations she worked for did not appreciate this gag. She was fired from that station, making 2 reporters taken down by the Hugh Meister in his career. Hugh Meister? I don't know. Let's use it. Number 6, Jim Carrey versus the world. Jim Carrey is known for his hilarious personality on and off screen, but he gave Kat Sadler from E! News and Daily Pop an awkward interview on the red carpet at Harper's Bazaar Party in 2017. The interaction started with Jim slowly circling Kat as she attempts to express her confusion and excitement that Jim Carrey is at a Fashion Week event. Was the man known for being an incredible artist, bringing that talent to the fashion world? No! He was just mad. By 2017, Jim had made a name for himself as an oddly serious guy who tended to venture into the realm of energies and universal concepts when he gets into deep conversations. He started this conversation with, "This is meaningless." He continued to say that he wanted to find the most meaningless thing he could attend that night, That event was a celebration of icons and celebrities, according to Cat, to which Jim said that he didn't agree, as in he doesn't agree with the concept of icons. He continues to give a small speech about not believing people are really real, that we're all just a field of energy, and that peace lies beyond personality, man. The entire time the interview is taking place, Cat is just visibly uncomfortable and just counting down to the moment that Jim says something funny or even remotely related to fashion, but instead he just shares his thoughts, tells her she has a nice fragrance, and walks away. While Jim's career had already started to slow down at that point, this clip became viral and studios were wondering if he might be a good fit for anything. A lot of scripts with his name on them were rewritten or just simply kept to themselves, right up until 2020 when he made a comeback in the surprisingly fun Sonic the Hedgehog movie. So here's hoping for a third one sometime soon. Bjork versus the Oscars. Next up on our list is not only the most memorable outfit from any award show, but it's also the strangest. In 2001, musician Bjork made an appearance at the Academy Awards where she was nominated for Best Original Song from Dancer in the Dark. She appeared on the red carpet with a massive swan draped over herself, and while thankfully not a real swan carcass just, drenched over her shoulders, the dress was a creation from designer Marjan Bajowski, meaning someone took the time and effort to make this dress. Thankfully, I'm not the only person who thought this was a little bit of a weird choice. A lot of comments from that evening include people calling her a duck, claiming she should be institutionalized, and one celebrity just kind of looked at her and was like, in the years that followed, the dress was parodied several times. Ellen DeGeneres and Kevin James even wore the same outfits on the Academy stage a few years later to attempt to poke fun at Bjork, but all they did was look silly and make the world giggle. Number 4, Mayim Bialik versus E.T. Mayim is a hilarious woman, okay? She is best known these days for her role as Amy Farrah Fowler on The Big Bang Theory and for being an absolute slayer on the red carpet. For those who don't know, she has a legitimate background as a neuroscientist. She started out as an actor when she was like 12 years old, appearing in commercials and sitcoms in the 80s, but as time went on, she shifted her focus from acting to math and science, and actually went to school for neuroscience and Hebrew studies before going straight into a PhD program. She actually met someone in school that she fell in love with and divorced, and is the mother of 2 younglings with. This woman is awesome. Even more awesome was her response to a bit of a rough question, and under-researched one at that. So the interviewers clearly didn't prep for this red carpet event, but meant nothing by this question. Mayim was asked if people thought that she could solve calculus in real time at the drop of a hat. She responded by reminding the interviewers that she actually did train in calculus for years because she's a neuroscientist, and both of the hosts just looked horrified and said, well, a little tidbit to the audience, hey, she really is a neuroscientist. Over 300,000 people watched that happen, and the responses were mixed. Some people felt that it was just a little bit of a mix-up, but a lot of people bashed the interviewers for not doing the bare minimum before asking her a question like that on live TV. They continued to be hosts, but now when people know Mayim is on her way to the red carpet, research is priority number 1. Number 3, the Oscars in 2012. The Oscars red carpet saw a couple of really fun moments in 2012, mostly caused by Sasha Baron Cohen. First thing that happened was Ryan Seacrest doing his best when suddenly Sasha appeared with an entourage and fully decked out in his General Aladdin gear from the film The Dictator. He was telling Ryan that he wanted to come tonight and spread the ashes of his fallen friend and doubles tennis partner Kim Jong-il. The situation got heated after Sasha dropped Kim's ashes all over Ryan. Ryan brushed them off quite literally and honestly took the situation in stride. He was just smiling and trying to get the substance off of himself. Ryan admitted at first he wasn't sure if there was anything in that urn, and he knew Sasha was gonna do something, but there was 100% something in that can. The best part though came after the situation when the cleaning crew came over to vacuum up the mess, and did it while Jason Segel was making his way through the crowd. The person cleaning the mess ignored him and just vacuumed over his feet. Jason is shocked and takes a step back, and there was also a wardrobe malfunction for Jennifer Lopez, who accidentally had a tip slip when she was presenting Best Costume Design. There have been many shocking Oscar moments over the years, but the 2012 red carpets and its, ceremony were just a bit much. Thankfully though, it was a memorable night, no questions asked. Number 2, Gary Busey versus Jennifer Garner. Gary Busey is an interesting and controversial fella in his own right. He was a big movie star and then arrested, and then he became everyone's sleep paralysis demon. I'm sorry, I got a little scared there for a sec. In 2008, he gave the world a little heads up that he might not be all there upstairs because Jennifer Garner, best known for Elektra or her new film The Family switch, which is not great, was on the red carpet making her way to her seat when suddenly she was approached by Gary. Someone asked him if he knew or had met Jennifer before, and without saying anything, he just leaned in and kissed her on the neck. Her face is one of pure shock and confusion. When Gary did not immediately step back, she called for her husband at the time, Ben Affleck, to step in between them. Busey has been blacklisted from Hollywood for a lot of reasons, but this is just one of the many examples why. And at number 1, John Travolta versus Idina Menzel. A while back in 2014, John Travolta flubbed the name of one of the most famous women in musical theater history, because at the Oscars that year, he was supposed to introduce Idina Menzel ahead of her performance of Let It Go, because she was, Elsa from Frozen, fun fact, but she was also Elphaba in the musical Wicked, and a ton of other shows. She's just incredible. But for this event, she was promoting Frozen and showcasing a piece of music that ended up getting stuck in everyone's head for the rest of their lives. Please help me. And John Travolta was just so confident in his delivery of her name. He introduced the audience to the wickedly talented, one and only Adele Dazeem. The moment spawned a lot of parody Twitter accounts and even an Adele Dazeem name generator that turned people like Jared Leto into Jed Lopez, which I think is better, and Matthew McConaughey into Michael Mazzoline. That sounds like an X-rated superstar, you know what I mean? The following year, the two appeared on stage together where Idina decided to drop a little revenge. She was set to introduce the next round of nominees, and as a little joke, the Oscars decided to bring her and John onto the stage together. She introduced John by his new name, Gulam Gazingo, and the interaction between them was a little forced, but it was nice to see that they played the whole thing off for fun instead of making it an actual incident. And since then, John triple checks things before he goes on stage, which better safe than sorry, bud.
First up, we have Conor McGregor and Machine Gun Kelly. It's difficult to tell exactly what happened between mixed martial artist / UFC fighter Conor McGregor and rapper Machine Gun Kelly just before the MTV VMAs in 2021, but one video of the incident, which already had 1.5 million views by the next morning, showed a man in a suit on the red carpet holding back Conor McGregor, who then approached a large group of people, including Kelly and his then girlfriend, actress Megan Fox. All of a sudden, a large gasp went up from the crowd and several handlers grabbed Kelly and pulled him away. People started yelling, "Run, run, run," and "Where's Megan?" The couple was surrounded by security as they were swiftly led away from the group. "Go this way, get her out this way," one woman commanded, steering the clearly distressed actress into a less crowded corner of the carpet. Photos and video immediately started circulating on social media. Wow. "What happened?" asked Entertainment Tonight correspondent Rachel Smith when she saw McGregor. "Absolutely nothing," McGregor said. "I don't even know the guy, to be honest with you. Nothing happened with me. I only fight real fighters, people that actually fight. You know what I mean? I certainly don't fight little vanilla boy rappers. I don't even know the guy. I don't know anything about him except that he's with Megan Fox." Interesting. Our next red carpet feud involves JLo and Ben Affleck. The couple is known to be quite feisty with one another, and that remained true during the red carpet for JLo's movie premiere, Mother. After the premiere, photos of Affleck and Lopez fighting and what looked like yelling at each other circulated quickly online, and fans kept wondering, what are they saying to each other? Well, a lip reader has revealed what Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez have said, and honestly, it's pretty funny. A lip reader told the Daily Mail the couple, who appeared frustrated and irritated at times, were merely debating poses and positioning for the red carpet. The expert said that during the now viral exchange, Lopez appeared to ask Affleck whether her low-cut top was showing too much, prompting him to respond, quote, "It's fine." After finding their joint pose, Affleck appeared to tell his wife to come closer to him before leaning into her ear saying, "Don't worry, babe." Our next red carpet feud involves Ariana Grande and the red carpet photographers. At the 2016 Billboard Music Awards, things got pretty heated. While Ariana was walking the red carpet, numerous photographers were shouting at Ariana in order to get her to look into their camera lens. Ariana looked absolutely beautiful, but the constant shouting of "look over here" must have put her in a bad mood. After one photographer yelled, "Ariana, you aren't looking," she yelled back with, "Yeah, and what about it?" She then did a hair flip and strutted to another side of the carpet. Our next red carpet disaster involves Aubrey Plaza and Michael Cera. You know Aubrey from shows like Parks and Recreation and White Lotus, and and Michael from movies like Molly's Game, Barbie, Superbad, and Juno. The two stars had a viral red carpet spat during the 2010 premiere of their movie Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. While Aubrey was being interviewed on the carpet, a reporter asked, "So, do you hate Michael Cera as much as your character does?" Aubrey responded with, "If you thought the character was believable, that's because the hatred comes from a very real place." Does that answer your question? Also, let me just say that in most of the scenes I had to curse Michael Cera out, and I had a lot of fun doing it, she says. Soon after, Michael Cera comes up to Aubrey, aggressively grabbing her mic that she was holding. Aubrey responds to him by saying, "Seriously, like, don't do that." The interviewer chimes in by saying, "Wow, there is so much romantic tension here, it is obvious." Aubrey responds by saying, "I have no clue what you're talking about." The hilarious exchange went viral on YouTube, with some commenters saying there are so many levels of irony and sarcasm in this exchange that, quote, "I don't even know what's real anymore." Our next red carpet feud involves Kim K and a random stranger who sabotaged her event. Kardashian was celebrating the launch of her new perfume True Reflection at an event to benefit the charity Dress for Success. As video from E! News shows, a woman walked up to Kim Kardashian, yelled what sounded like "lousy fur hag," and flower bombed the reality star, throwing a bunch of flour at her forehead, covering her entire body. The alleged powder thrower was detained by hotel security, according to the LA Times, but was later released after Kardashian declined to press charges. Kardashian dusted herself off and returned to the event. Our next red carpet disaster involves a Will Smith slap. So, if you thought I was going to be talking about the infamous Oscar slap from a couple years ago, you are wrong. Because the first time Will Smith gave someone a piece of his mind was a decade before that. It was the year 2012, and the actor was at the movie premiere for his new film, Men in Black 3, when he encountered the insufferable Vitali Sediuk. You know him. Vitali Sediuk is the man whose main mission in life is to wreak havoc among any celebrity he can get his hands on. Will Smith was not his first, nor was he his last. Anyways, at the event, Vitali seemed to be interviewing Will, and as they finished, he asked for a hug, which Will agreed to because why not? And then Vitali goes in for a kiss, which was something Will did not agree to. And it'd be easy to feel sorry for the guy until you find out that this man is notorious for his odd behavior, provoking celebrities. The man probably did not expect to get slapped by Will, but he definitely asked for it. Next up, we have Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise did not appreciate being pranked while in the middle of an interview, and he made sure that they knew that loud and clear. During the premiere for his movie War of the Worlds, he thought he was being interviewed by some regular reporter before he was instantly squirted by a water gun mid-sentence. The actor did not hesitate to confront the man, who seemed taken off guard and unsure of how to respond to him. After he asked him why he would do that. Even when the man tries to remove himself from the situation, Tom refuses to let him, even calling him rude and a jerk. Later, we found out that the guy was working with 3 other men, and they all worked under a British network for their show that specializes in pranking celebrities. The joke was on them because the 4 of them were eventually detained by police shortly after, and their company wrote out an apology to Tom Cruise for the incident. This next moment is less of a feud, but more of a really awkward celeb interaction, and it involves Kesha and Jerry Seinfeld. At some red carpet event several years ago, Kesha found herself on the carpet at the same time as Jerry Seinfeld, whom she is a very big fan of. The actor was in the middle of an interview on his own when Kesha intervened. This video was awkward enough on its own, but at least she asked for consent. Kesha asked Jerry for a hug, but Jerry said, no, absolutely not. He later shared that he didn't intend to be rude, he just felt taken aback because she was sprung out of nowhere and he truly didn't know who Kesha was. I just think that this could be a learning lesson for us all. Should Kesha have kept pushing for a hug even after he said no? Probably not. Could Jerry have declined in a nicer way? Yeah, probably. But still, viewers remain divided on this, so whose side are you on? Another awkward red carpet moment involves Tiffany Haddish. When Entertainment Tonight reporter Lorna Zima asked Tiffany about her quote, costume change at the 2022 Vanity Fair Oscars after party, the comedian was quick to put the reporter in her place. "I'm not wearing a costume, I'm wearing Dolce & Gabbana," the actress replied. "It's called an evening gown, darling. No one's paying me for this, I paid for it. It's custom." them. Zima tried to ease the tension with a joke, laughing about her quote time of death, but Haddish wasn't finished. "This is not an acting gig, this is my life. This is what fame looks like. This is what success looks like. This is what money looks like." Haddish went on to praise her friend Will Smith for slapping Oscars host Chris Rock earlier that evening, after Rock publicly mocked Smith's wife and actor Jada Pinkett Smith. Last but not least, we have Jim Carrey versus a red carpet reporter. Now, Jim has been in the public eye for decades for hit movies like Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, and The Truman Show, but perhaps he will be best known for this very interesting red carpet interaction. It's clear that Jim Carrey wasn't thrilled about attending the Harper's Bazaar Icons party in 2017. What's not clear is why he showed up in the first place. There's no meaning to any of this, he told former E! reporter Kat Sandler when asked about his attendance. "I wanted to find the most meaningless thing that I could come to tonight, and here I am." The interviewer pressed him about the meaning, or lack thereof, of the word icon, among other topics, but Carrey only continued on an existential rant about the meaning of life. His top what the heck remarks include, "I believe we're a field of energy dancing through itself," and quote, "We don't matter."
At number 10, we have thinking Kate Hudson won an Oscar. In the world of Hollywood, winning an Oscar is one of the biggest career-changing moments. So when ABC reporter George Penicino said, "Kate, you know what it's like to win an Oscar?" to which she was uncomfortable and replied, I've never won an Oscar." For some background information, Kate Hudson starred in movies like Glass Onion, Mother's Day with Jennifer Aniston, as well as How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. So I can understand why he thought she would have won. But when you're an interviewer, it's important to have a base of knowledge on the people who are going to be there, so as to not embarrass yourself. And this was no exception. Thankfully for George, he wasn't fired because of his little live television slip-up, but it's safe to say that he has learned his lesson about making assumptions.
Number 9. Zac Efron's Love Tubes. Zac rose to fame as a Disney darling, playing the leading role of Troy Bolton in the popular High School Musical series. Since his Disney days, Zac has lent his face and voice to several projects over the years, but the red carpet event that we're talking about today was for the animated Dr. Seuss movie, The Lorax. Zac, who voiced the main character of the film, was walking the red carpet when he suddenly handed his assistant something in his pocket. As he handed them the product, something fell out of his pocket and onto the ground. That something is a word that I can't say online, so let's just call them love tubes. Zac's love tube wrapper was flat on the carpet right there for the world to see. He quickly picked it up, but the damage was already done. In the first interview following this incident, the interviewer asked Zac if anything unplanned had happened to him recently, and he then explained that it was a complete accident, that there was no pre-show pocket check, anything that could have prevented it. Well, Illumination didn't like that excuse, and they also didn't like their main star being associated with such an adult product. So, when the plans for a Lorax sequel were brought to the studios, Zac's name was left out and replaced by another star. I guess whoever they picked wasn't famous enough because the project was ultimately shelved by the studio, and Zac was able to find work somewhere else. In Baywatch.
At number 8, we have Jim Carrey's existential rant. Jim Carrey is a character who has had many varying roles. From the Grinch in the iconic live-action version of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, he was in The Cable Guy with Matthew Broderick, and he most recently played Dr. Eggman in the live-action Sonic the Hedgehog movies. His IMDb spans on and on, but something important to know about him is that he had really bad depression, and really let himself go over the years. One of those moments, we really saw how the mind of a genius works, was when he was on a rant during an interview at the 2017 Harper's Bazaar Icons party. No one really knew why he showed up in the first place if he was so unhappy to be there, but former E! reporter Kat Sadler came up to him to ask him questions. He leaned into the mic and he said, "There is no meaning to any of this." When she asked why he was attending the party, he said that he wanted to find the most meaningless thing he could come to and join, and there he was. Sadler tried to pry about other things and what the term icon meant to him, but he continued to spew existential nonsense that made everyone uncomfortable aside from him. It may not have been gross, but his career did begin to decline both before and after this.
If there is one thing that should be known about Taylor Swift, is that she can end entire careers with one conversation. In 2015, Taylor was on the red carpet for the Grammy Awards when she was interviewed by Entertainment Tonight. The woman who interviewed her started the interview by asking her cameraman to pan up and down, literally checking Taylor out with this massive camera. It's not weird at all. After going along with the bit for a moment and telling the camera about her dress, the interviewer said that she honestly just wanted a shot of Taylor's legs because, as she said before, Taylor is going to be going home with more than a trophy. Maybe a man. Well, Taylor didn't appreciate that comment or the assumption. She did not laugh and then proceeded to tell the interviewer that she would be going home with no men, just hanging out with friends, maybe some of her cats. While the majority of the interview went well, the interviewers were reprimanded behind the scenes by Taylor herself. The news of Taylor's dislike for the interviewers made its way up to the top, where the ET executives decided to keep them off of the red carpet for a while. Remember, keep your creepy camera gestures to yourself, lady.
At number 6, we have David Letterman with Jennifer Aniston. David Letterman used to be the host of The Tonight Show before Jimmy Fallon took over. He's also a comedian who was successful for many years, and some comedians can take a sketch too far, or commit to a bit that makes people uncomfortable. And that's exactly what happened to a young Jennifer Aniston while on the show with him. They were making conversation, as one does, but then he got up and tried to eat her hair. I understand that you can really like someone as an actor, but when you are actively trying to eat their hair on live television, that is just too far. However, like the true professional she is, she let him. And there are photos out there of David Letterman leaning over Miss Aniston with her hair in his mouth.
Number 5, John Mayer. John may be known for spending time with the ladies, but it's not all peaches and cream. The musician was doing an interview with Playboy magazine in 2010. Now I know it involves Playboy, who are notoriously provocative, but even they thought this interview was just a bit much. John gets into some pretty graphic depictions of things that he wanted to do to Jessica Simpson, using language that cannot be repeated online. But he then ventures off the physical intimacy thing and instead begins to speak about his, and I quote, hood pass, claiming that he had become so popular among black people that he could get away with anything he wanted, and he then called it the N-word pass. Yeah, not a great moment for this guy. Following the interview, fans were beyond upset at his behavior and his attitude towards women and honestly just people in general. Many turned on John, making a massive dent in his career, rightfully so, and nowadays this is one of the only things that he is remembered for. Well, that and his really bad cameo in Get Hard.
At number 4, we have Jay Leno questioning Kanye West. Jay Leno was the host of yet another late night show, and back in 2009, he had Kanye West on his show. You see, the event that caused this was Kanye West interrupting young Taylor Swift's mid-acceptance speech for the best music video, I might add, to say that Beyonce had the best music video and should have won, in front of an audience on TV. For some context, Kanye's mother had passed away in 2007, just a couple years prior to the incident. Jay Leno knew this, and he said that he was fortunate enough to have met his mother. So, Leno, in a very disrespectful fashion, asked Kanye if his mother would have been disappointed in him for doing that, and asked if she would have lectured him. You can see how shocked he is and how hurt he is hearing those words. He almost had no response. Whether or not you're a fan of him, that was still so unprofessional and cruel.
Number 3, Amy Schumer. In the mid-2010s, comedian Amy Schumer was named one of Time magazine's top 100 most influential people and was made to attend a red carpet event to celebrate with her fellow influencers. 2 of them were Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. While discussing the incident on the Graham Norton show, Amy revealed that there was a planned prank on Kim and Ye. Her goal was to get them to crack a smile and get some good fun pics from this event, but Kim and Kanye did not find this situation funny and continued to walk past her as she fell in front of them in a dramatic fashion. The best picture is just Kim staring at Amy for a moment being like, okay, and then just moving on. While the moment was meant to create a fun scene, it instead made Amy look like she had some kind of grudge against Kim and Kanye. While not an interview, the incident on the red carpet forced Comedy Central to postpone a season of her show until things were sorted out with Kim. Well, it turned out that not only did Kim not care about this, but she did end up finding the entire thing funny. With the two apparently now being close friends, Amy even made a cameo on Kim's new reality series, The Kardashians.
At number 2, we have The Marvel Interview. I use such a vague title because there is a lot to unpack about this interview with Robert Downey Jr. He had a very rocky upbringing, and he was involved in a lot of illegal activities, had substance issues, and has an internet-famous mugshot. But he's been clean for years, all thanks to his wife. So when the man doing the interview for a Marvel movie pressed about his past, it made him very uncomfortable. And it wasn't just asking some surface level questions, he asked about his relationship with his father and mentioned how he has opened up about his issues with liquids and substances in his upbringing. He then went on to ask RDJ if he really thought he was free from all that, or something you think about. This was when RDJ cut him off, left the room, and walked away from the interview. Imagine the audacity the interviewer must have had to even think about asking Robert such a thing, and even though he had been clean for so long and had finally gained the confidence to speak up about it.
And at number 1, Will Smith. That's right, Will Smith is on this list for slapping someone, but it's not Chris Rock. Today we're talking about an incident on the red carpet that left one paparazzo with a massive red mark on their face and a fired stamp on their forehead. Will was walking the red carpet in 2013 giving people interviews when a Ukrainian comedian named Vitali Sediuk approached him, a man who is unfortunately world famous for being an absolutely terrible person, especially towards celebrities. He pretended to be a reporter and started interviewing Will Smith, but then he suddenly pulls Will towards him and tries to kiss him on his cheeks and his mouth. Well, Will obviously shoves him back and gave him a little, "Hey bud, no thank ya," just a little backhand to the face. A team of security following Mr. Smith picked this guy up and carried him away like the toddler he was. Who knew Will was practicing for his Oscar slap all the way back then? Sediuk was finally reprimanded for his actions and was actually made to pay a hefty fine for attempting to force himself on Will Smith. Needless to say, that guy works for himself now.
First up, we have Emma Roberts. The actress is certified Hollywood royalty, being the niece of Julia Roberts, but that didn't save her from getting cancelled last September when her co-star Angelica Ross spoke out against her. The two of them starred in American Horror Story together, and according to Angelica, it was nothing short of a nightmare. Apparently, Emma irritated almost every actor on the set because she was playing mind games with people. Angelica said, "My blood is boiling because I'm like, if I say something, it's going to be me that's the problem. I know this because there was someone who spoke up about what she was doing and they got repercussions from it. Not her, they did. So she chose not to report it because she felt she would be retaliated against." After that incident, apparently the two of them didn't speak for the rest of their time filming together. She also claimed that Emma yelled at directors and tried to compare salaries with her co-stars, all because she was trying to make it very clear that she was number one on the call sheet and she was the one in charge. So it sounds like she was terrorizing people in general, upsetting other actors, and throwing her weight around in an insufferable way. Once this story came out, there was intense backlash against the actress and problematic past behavior, so it's safe to say she won't be on the red carpet for a little while. Next up, we have Star Trek actor Zachary Quinto, who was exposed for his horrible behavior online. A Toronto restaurant called Manita recently accused him of berating staff, driving the host to tears, and freaking out other customers during brunch. They posted a statement on their Instagram story saying, "Zachary Quinto, an amazing Spock, but a terrible customer. Yelled at staff like an entitled child after he didn't reply to 2 texts to inform him his table was ready, and refused to believe the empty tables in the dining room weren't available for him despite being politely informed that they were spoken for." The message went on to say, "Made our host cry and the rest of our brunch diners uncomfortable. Mr. Quinto, take your bad vibes somewhere else. We have many lovely celebrities join us at Manita, but you are not one of them." Zachary is most known for playing Commander Spock in the Star Trek movies between 2009 and 2016, and has gone on to have a very successful career ever since. He was also a fan favorite in American Horror Story. The potential PR dent comes at a sensitive time for the actor, considering that he has a new medical drama coming out called Brilliant Minds, which is set to premiere in the fall. So it's no surprise that fans are upset about this news. After all, you have to be a pretty entitled celebrity to get yourself banned from a restaurant. That brings us to James Corden. The famous talk show host is now now one of the most hated celebrities in Hollywood, and a lot of it comes down to what people say is his fake personality. On screen, he seems to be a funny and lovable guy, but in real life, it appears to be a different story entirely. Some of the allegations against James include him reportedly screaming at staff at the Balthazar restaurant in New York because his wife received an egg yolk omelet with egg white in it. He was banned from the restaurant, and the owner claims he is the most abusive customer ever. In 2010, a moment of genuine drama unfolded at the Glamour Awards ceremony as Corden clashed with X-Men star Patrick Stewart on stage. As he walked up on stage, Stewart told Corden to get his hands out of his pockets and accused him of looking around as if he would rather be anywhere in the world but here. In response, Corden said, "Oh, you couldn't be more wrong, sir. You couldn't be more wrong, genuinely. And if it looked like that, I am so sorry. But when you come up and present an award, just get on with it." Stewart kept the argument going though, and things got incredibly awkward for everyone watching. Truly a bizarre moment in award show history. Next on the list, we have Amy Schumer, perhaps the most hated comedian in the world. Amy Schumer has gone through her fair share of hate, including multiple viral YouTube videos with titles such as "Watching Amy Schumer Until I Laugh," where the video is actually 1 hour long. Reasons behind the hating of Amy Schumer include allegations of her stealing jokes, and the proof is pretty wild. One user on Reddit pitched their opinion on the comedian saying, "I really liked her on Inside Amy Schumer, so I went and got tickets to one of her comedy shows. She was an hour late to the show. After some time, the crowd got restless, so they sent some poor intern or something to fill in the time to tell some jokes. Everyone booed him. When Amy did show, she showed up drunk, did about 40 minutes of bad jokes, which just basically involved insulting the audience, and it was over. It was the worst show I've ever been to. Hated her ever since." Moving on to Chrissy Teigen, the cookbook author faced heavy criticism in recent years following reports of cyberbullying. Many celebrities came forward to accuse Teigen, including Lindsay Lohan, Farrah Abraham, and Project Runway star Michael Costello. Teigen publicly apologized for her past behavior multiple times, including in a lengthy post on Medium, which she shared on social media. She also opened up about being in the cancel club following the controversy. Teigen wrote on Instagram in July saying, "Going outside sucks and doesn't feel right. Being at home alone with my mind makes my depressed head race." She ended her post jokingly asking if there is a cancel club reunion she could attend. From there, she was dealt a huge blow after reports circulated that retail giant Bloomingdale's had pulled out of a deal it had in place with the model. Macy's also said that it's not actively selling her cookbook Cravings on their site, and it's difficult to see how her career will recover from such bad publicity. Next up, we have Jonah Hill. Earlier this year, the actor and comedian was exposed online by his ex-girlfriend who claimed that he was controlling and misogynistic. These events have collectively sparked outrage, mostly from other women who said they've had similar experiences in relationships. It started on July 7th, when Sarah Brady shared a series of Instagram stories detailing Jonah's behavior while they were together. She posted DMs and texts that she claims were sent to her when they were dating. She wrote, "Sharing this publicly now because keeping it to myself would causing more damage to my mental health than sharing it ever could do. This is a warning to all girls. If your partner is talking to you like this, make an exit plan. Call me if you need an ear." So what was in these messages? Well, one of them appears to show him chastising her for posting photos of herself surfing in a bikini. When she deletes some of the photos, Jonah allegedly tells her that it's a good start, but that she still doesn't seem to get it. He explains what kind of behavior he feels is crossing his boundaries. This includes her surfing with other men, modeling, posting pictures of herself in a bathing suit, and having friendships with women who are in unstable places. Another celebrity who isn't allowed on the red carpet anymore is Russell Brand. In September of last year, several women made allegations against him, and more disturbing stories have come out about him since. The actor then had his YouTube account suspended, as well as other channels associated with his main YouTube page. He denied everything and issued a video message on social media saying that the stories about him were from a time when he was still acting in the movies. But that was not enough to stop Russell from getting cancelled. His management agency, Travis Wood, terminated all professional ties to him, saying in a statement, "Russell Brand categorically and vehemently denied the allegation made in 2020, but we now believe we were horribly misled by him." Paramount Plus then removed one of his stand-up comedy specials, and the BBC said it removed some content featuring the actor, saying that it now falls below public expectations. After all that, it's pretty clear Russell will not be welcomed back to Hollywood or any celebrity events that he used to attend. Next up, we have Doja Cat. While her music is still as good as ever, Doja Cat is constantly finding herself in hot water these days. After losing nearly 1 million followers for hating on her own fans, she seems to have alienated her remaining fan base by wearing a shirt featuring an extremely controversial person. The picture has now been deleted from Instagram, but not before it was seen by millions. In the photo, Doja is posing in her car while wearing a t-shirt that shows a controversial comedian. After fans called her out on Instagram, she removed the images but left a blurry photo of herself in the same outfit on her Instagram story. She then uploaded a cropped version of one of the pictures, but fans made sure she knew that they hadn't forgotten about the controversy. Not too long ago, she called out some of her stans for creating their own unofficial nickname for her loyal fan base because she didn't sign off on it and she clearly hates the name. She went on a bit of a Twitter rant and wrote, "My fans don't get to name themselves. If you call yourself a kitten or effing kittens, that means you need to get off your phone and get a job and help your parents with the house." Doja ended up losing more than 500,000 followers, and to this day she has not changed her opinion. Moving on to Justin Timberlake, whose reputation took a nosedive after his ex Britney Spears released her memoir, The Woman in Me. In the book, she reveals that she fell pregnant during the relationship but claims that she was forced to end it. She said, "It was a surprise, but for me, it wasn't a tragedy. I loved Justin so much. I always expected us to have a family together one day. This would just be much earlier than I'd anticipated." But she said that Justin definitely wasn't happy about the pregnancy. He said that they weren't ready to have a baby in their lives and that they were way too young. Britney revealed that if the decision had been left up to her alone, she never would have done it. But she only did so because Justin was so sure that he didn't want to be a father. Looking back at the experience, she said, "To this day, it's one of the most agonizing things I have ever experienced in my life." So it's no surprise the internet has been looking back at Justin's past actions with distaste, from how he publicly discussed his relationship with Britney to the media and insulted her after it was over and using her to launch his career. It's no wonder fans have totally turned their back on him. And lastly, we have Sasha Baron Cohen. The comedian was swiftly cancelled this year when actress Rebel Wilson spoke out against him in her memoir. She said that she felt humiliated by Sasha on the set of the 2016 movie The Brothers Grimsby. Rebel said she would never be on a movie set with him again and went on to describe the nightmare of working with him behind the scenes. It was so bad that she said that no sum of money, not even $50 million, could convince her to work with him again. A representative for Sasha then came out with a statement in response saying, "While we appreciate the importance of speaking out, these demonstratively false claims are directly contradicted by extensive, detailed evidence, including contemporaneous documents, film footage, and eyewitness accounts from those present before, during, and after the production of The Brothers Grimsby." But clearly, fans were already turning against him by this point, and the backlash was intensifying. It didn't help that Sasha had a reputation for causing trouble. Back in 2012 at the Oscars, he had an infamous interview with Ryan Seacrest. It was a complete mess. While still in character from one of his movies, Sasha emptied an urn all over Ryan and the ashes went everywhere. It was a complete disaster. No wonder reporters tend to avoid him on the red carpet.